Eddie Van Halen here, telling you, keep playing, man. Gotta keep playing. It's the only thing there is. Music, man. Keep playing. All right? I'm gonna come looking for you if you don't.
That's right. I'm come looking for you if you don't. What is up? What is up? Here we are once again, the Guitar Arsenal. It is Tuesday night, April 8th, 2025, 9:09 p.m. in the Eastern time. Time stamped, ready to go. What is up, boys? We have got John DeShane. We got Randy the Ripper. Hey. We got Symmetry. Super Symmetry. And we've got Jimmy Biter over there.
Wow.
What is happening, boys?
We're here.
Tuesday.
So, how was everybody's day at work or whatever you did today? Everything good?
Yeah, man.
Productive.
We're busy, so that's good.
It was one of those days where I didn't think I would have any hair left at the end of the day. Pulling hair out, frustration. But here we are. We're good to go. And I think that we have a really, really hot topic tonight. The chat has already been lit up. Everybody commenting. So this should be fun tonight. We're going to be talking about string gauge. Does size matter? So before we get too deep into it, let's get over here and let's give a shout out and a thank you to our channel members. We do have channel membership available on the channel. There should be a join button over underneath the video description. There should be a link if you choose to support us in that manner. We greatly appreciate it. Helps out with some different string gauges for us and some picks and all that good stuff. So thank you to each and every one of our channel members, old and new. We certainly appreciate all the support from everybody. A big round of applause for our channel members. Thank you. Let's also get over to the chat and let's see who we got with us tonight. We're going to get that opened up and going here. There we go. First one in is channel member Cucumber. CMBR is here. Good to see you, Mr. Legend. Welcome in. We've got Earl Colai, and he's starting things off. What are we drinking, boys and girls? Tonight it's just water for me. Says, anyone tried a set of Dunlop Rev Willie's Mexican Lottery brand electric 7 to 38 gauge strings? Recommended by Billy Gibbons. I have not. I have not. We got channel member and OU crew member R2 R3 Locking Nut in the chat. He says 10s. Yep. There we go. We got Kurt 5150 says Boner Jams prefers the 11 to 80 string gauge. He gets all that droppage tunage. Let's see. Earl says anyone used DR drop down tuning DDT electric guitar strings? No, I have not.
Yes.
They help maintain.
I have.
Okay, there we go.
DR strings.
Interested in thoughts about the best string gauges for a detuned guitar? Well, right there, Kurt mentioned Boner Jams prefers the 11 to 80. Randy, do you have a preference for detuned?
I do. Depends on the tuning and the scale. But my old band that I stayed in for like 3 years or whatever, we used two tunings. We used drop B and drop C. And I used an 11 to 56 for drop B and an 11 to 54 for drop C on a 25.5-inch scale guitar.
Well, there we go. And I'm sure Jimmy will have some recommendations for his drop tuned guitars here in just a bit. Let's say hey to Florida Claimers Ted in the chat. Good to see you, sir. Channel member Hillary is here saying happy Tuesday, y'all. Good to see you, Hillary. And channel member, OU crew member, and panel member Jimmy Biter saying what's up.
What is that?
Let's see. We've also got channel member El Barge is here. Says use 30 caliber on my long guitar and the 12 gauge on the sawed-off. There we go.
He just blew Walla Cries' ears out if he's watching.
Oh, well. He'll be fine. We got Mark Spurgeon is here. Good to see you, Mark. Let's see. We've got channel member Steven Franklin saying, what's up, boys? Mr. Franklin, we need to have a conversation still, so I haven't forgot about you. Oh, I did forget about turning on right here. There we go. That puts a little illumination on the subject. Let's see. We got Chuck C is here. Welcome in. He says 9s on a 25.5 scale and 10s on 24 3/4. Right on. Welcome in, Chuck. We got Earl Colai we've said hello to. We got Wayne McConnell is here saying hola to everyone. Good to see Wayne. Channel member Blue Mox is here. Says, hey to the crew. Good to see you. Bradley Wood is also here. 946 on 25.5 and 1046 on 24 3/4. There we go. So let's see. How does that compare to this right here? 9s on 25.5 and 10s on 24 3/4. The same exact thing. So there we go.
So vanilla, Ryan.
What? I'm just reading the chat here.
Just kidding.
Let's see.
Carry on.
All right, I'm carrying. We got channel member Greasy, a monkey, a guitars is here. The Greasy Man. Channel member, OU crew member, and panel member tonight. We have a symmetry.
Super symmetry.
That's right. Channel member Steve Rezor is here, saying cheers to everybody. Good to see you, Steve. We got Mean Joe, channel member McGraw, saying hello to Symmetry. Screw the rest of us, saying hey to Trev there. We got Zach Thong is here as well. Good to see you, Zach. We've also got KXM Rock is here. Good to see you. Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, is giving some cheers. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see, there is Darby Ward is here. So what's up to everybody? Good to see you now. We've also got a channel member, a Rob Blackmore. Official is here. Right on. We've got CLS, Mr. Silva. Good to see you, sir. Channel member William De Silva, saying hey to the fellas. Good to see you, sir. Let's see, we've also got Kevin Brava, formerly known as Peter Stroker. Right on. Let's see, we've also got channel member Dan Gorman is here. As always, a warm and rockin' riff welcome to Dan Gorman. Good to see you, sir. We've got cheers to Hip Metalworks channel member Ken is here. Right on. We've got Wawa Lord. Steve Brand is here. Good to see you, Steve. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Channel member and mod for the channel Arkansas. What's that? Present in the background. Oh, hello all. Gotcha. Good to see you. Good to see you. Did we say hey to Chuck C? I think we did. We're going to say it again. Let's see. Scrolling on down. Who else do we have? Let's see. Scrolling. I think we said Bradley Wood already. It's not the same. 946 or hybrid gauge. Not the same as 9s. There we go. Let's see. Steve Brand says 9 to 42 at E or E flat. 9 to 56 on 7 strings. And 9 to 74 on 8 strings. There we go. Let's see. Who else do we have in here? Kurt wants to know what's going on at Randy Price.
Hey, brother.
Let's see. Who else do we have? I think we've got everybody and we are caught up with the chat. So, you might say, or you might not, I don't know. Where did this topic come from? Well, this has always been kind of a hot topic and a debatable topic. And a lot of people say that different guitar strings change the tone of your guitar. The lighter the gauge string, the more tight the low end, and maybe a little bit more mid-focused with some lower gauge strings. Higher gauge strings are going to have a more bass, I guess, more pronounced bass. And I guess our quest tonight is to see what your opinion on is. Do you agree with that? Or what's your favorite? Is it because of the feel or the way that they sound? So we'll talk to the panel and you guys in the chat chime in and let us know what your thoughts are. Channel member Andy Carson has just found his way in just in time for the beefcake extravaganza. You got it. You got it.
Can we tell him?
Tell him.
Happy NGD, Andy Carson.
Oh, that's right. I did see a picture of a new guitar, and that was Mr. Andy Carson's.
It was.
Right on. Can I share a picture of it? Does he mind? Does he care? Is he going to be sharing it somewhere else?
Andy, can we share your guitar picture, bud?
Better hurry up and let us know. because I'm getting to it here
So we're
pretty
told
quick.
not to, we're just going to do it.
Or are you going to do it anyway? So, all right, I've got it pulled up and ready in case he says go for it. There he is.
He
Sure,
said, sure.
is what he says. All right, let me scoot over here, and I will get this going here. Get that over there. There we go. All right, there it is. So, what is this all about, Randy? Evidently, you've got more information on it than I do. All I've got's a picture. Looks like some kind of Joe Satriani setup, if you ask me.
That's what it is. Jimmy would know the model number, I'm sure. Andy didn't tell me that. He's like, check out what I got.
Very
It's
cool.
a JS something or another. So what would you call that color? Would that be a baby blue? Would that be an ocean blue, a seafoam green?
Yeah, so it's like halfway in between some kind of blue and
Teal, some kind of teal.
ish.
That's no sea foam. Let me.
Andy says it's a JS 2410.
There we go. JS 2410. And I would be interested to know what spurred the desire for that guitar. I mean, I know what spurs a desire for a guitar, but that one specifically. So maybe he'll let us know in the chat. Let's see. What else is going on? Quentin is here, Guitar Talk Universe, the Robin to Steve Brand's Batman for the Wah Wah Lord. What gauge will my RP360 XP sound good? None.
The invisible gauge.
Yes.
A 1-inch rope tied to a brick thrown into the river.
Whatever gauge that the string needs to be on the bow and arrow that shoots an arrow through it. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joe Satriani Baby Blue. Sky Blue is what Andy Carson says that they're calling it. Joe's saying nice guitar. What is the neck pickup? I'm sure that Andy will answer all these questions in the chat for us. Mitch Heyman has found his way in. Good to see you, Mitch. Welcome in. Welcome in.
I would assume it's probably some form of a Satch track.
12 gauge cue of you picking up when I'm
For
putting
the
down.
RP360, the 12 gauge is probably
Yeah,
the best.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andy says, I played a red one a couple years ago and liked it. Saw the sky blue and that sold me. There we go. Sometimes that's all it takes is just a color. You know, you fall in love with the color and the way that it looks. We got Lars Guitars has found his way in. JS are nice guitars. Have JS 2450 and JS 2480. Very cool, man. Very cool. Mr. Brand, I used to be very sympathetic and accommodating to the Stevie Ray Vaughan influenced grunge rockers, but about 20 years ago, I just started saying, if you had tone in your fingers, you wouldn't need the toe ropes. There you go. Searching for Tone has just found his way in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So, as far as the string gauges, you know, what really got me thinking about this and what kind of conjured up this idea was when I changed down to the 9 gauge strings on the Transtrim guitar on the GL2T. All of you were like, it sounds brighter, it sounds tighter, it sounds like it's got more punch.
Snappier.
Snappier.
Or it could be just a battery, right?
Or it could be just the battery. Yeah. So it got me thinking, though, could it be the strings? And we've all seen the videos on YouTube. I think one of the more popular ones was that Rick Beato had a test that he did. He went from 11s down to 8s, and he had several different guitarists record the same chord progression or whatever. And then they changed the strings on the same guitar, same amp, same everything. All they did was just plug the guitar back into it after a string change. And it was pretty apparent to me, listening to the higher gauge strings, that it did have a more bassy, more kind of filled out sound. And then the smaller the string gauge got, the more focused it was on the highs and the mids, more punchy. So maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. What's your thoughts, John? What's your gauge of choice, and for what reason?
Well, actually, I've always run 9 to 46 because I always used to do drop tuning and stuff. But last while I've been running 9 to 42s, but I'm thinking, what do you guys think about putting this one, because it's a more rocking guitar, in 9 to 46? You think it's worth a shot?
Always worth a shot. It's a cheap experiment, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9s have always been where it is.
942s.
Yeah.
And what about you, Randy? What's your gauge of choice, and for what reason?
Played a lot of gauges over the years, depending on who I was playing with. I currently, my favorite gauges are 9 to 46 for standard and E flat. I like the feel of the 9s playing leads, and I'd like a little more tension, a little more heft up top for the metal stuff.
Okay.
And the rhythm playing.
So would you say that decision is based more on the feel of it, or the tone that you're getting out of it?
The feel. But I spent so many, growing up as a kid learning Metallica songs and whatever, I played 10 to 46s. So the 46 just feels right. And then when I started playing heavier stuff and playing in bands, we were always drop tuned. So I had to have a little slinkier on the top, and still had to have some heft on the bottom, which, nowadays you listen to these guys that play in drop B and they would laugh at the 11 to 56. They would be like, you need to be playing like 11 to 72.
Right. Yeah.
And when I got out of that band, I went to another band that was playing an E flat for pretty much everything. And I stuck with the 11s. I was playing 11 to 56 in E flat and drop C sharp. And I played that for years. And then one day, what did I buy? I bought some guitar, and it was stock with 9 to 42s, and I was like, man, these things feel great. I just wish they weren't as slinky on the
top or bottom end. Yeah.
I think it was when I bought that Japanese Wolfgang Special. It had 9 to 42s on it, and I ended up stringing it up with 9 to 46s, and the learning curve of not having to bend as hard kind of
Right.
That took a week or so to get used to them. I'm like, I am never playing super heavy strings for E flat ever again.
Yeah. I was always 9 to 42 because that's what I knew. Every guitar that I'd ever bought came with 942s, except for you guys remember the original like 5150 strings?
Yeah.
From back in the day.
Or something, right?
I think they were 9 to 40.
Yeah.
And I bought those because of, this is what Ed uses, So I did play with those, but that was before I was really, any good at anything. I didn't know any different.
Right.
But any guitars that I had bought, 942s is what they came with. So that's what I knew, and that's what I felt, And I always thought that 10 gauge was supposed to be for a Les Paul or something like that. And I was always like, I don't want no Les Paul. I don't need 10 gauge. And when I honestly, when I got the Trans-Trim guitar and the 9 kept popping on it, because of the abuse I was given, and I was like, well, let me try a 10. I mean, that's got to be a little bit stronger. Maybe I get a little more use out of it. And that's really kind of the first time I switched over to a 10. It was just out of necessity because of the abuse I was doing to that Trans-Trim guitar. And then when I got, a couple of the Les Pauls, they come with 10s on them, but it's a little bit shorter scale, right?
Yep.
So they feel different. And so I like the 10 gauge, for certain guitars, and 9 to 42 on some and 9 to 46 on others.
Yeah.
But 942 is just what I always thought was normal. So now I'm thinking, would a set of 8s sound even better, on a guitar? I've got enough guitars I can try it on, right? Mm-hmm. So it'll be a cheap experiment. I thought about going to get some today and then stringing one up for the show tonight, but I didn't have time to do it. So that'll be something for the future for me to put. That'll be a poll question. Everybody pretty much has seen my guitars, so I'm going to start a poll. Well, I really can't do a poll.
Let me ask you this.
In the chat, just put in the chat what guitar that I have that you think I should put 8s on, and we'll do it.
Adam Jones, Silverburst, and Drop C.
You think? Drop C.
Now, do you
the drop.
have 10 to 46s on that guitar too? Or do you bump it up a bit since it's tuned down a whole step?
10 to 46 is what's on that guitar. Yeah.
Because mine, I started with 10 to 48, and then when I sold it, it had 10 to 52s on it for drop C. And that, to me, on that Les Paul was super comfortable.
Okay.
Like, I really want one of those Andy LaRock ESPs like R2 just got.
Right.
But it's a 24 3/4 scale, so I would more than likely put 10 to 48s on it. Because to me, a 10 to 48 feels pretty much like a 9 to 46
Right.
for that 3/4 inch difference.
Well, when you drop a half a step or whatever, it's almost like you're dropping tension down to a string size below, I would say.
Right.
So, but no, for the drop guitar, the only guitar that I think that I've put larger strings on would be the Purple Haze 5150 series guitar that I think it's in a drop C as well.
The Corey Feldman signature model?
Yes, the Corey Feldman. So that's kind of my story with strings, is that 942 was what I always knew. So I just thought that was normal, you know. I never played any really, down tune stuff or anything coming up through bands that I was in. So that's what I know. What about you, Trev? What do you have on your guitars?
Well, my general go-to is the 10 to 46 Darios. So currently the Xtera's got the 10 to 46. The Ibanez has 10 to 46. However, I did go with the 10 to 52s on the Viper, and it's tuned now to C sharp standard.
Okay.
And I think I got to beef those up a little bit because it's just a little too...
A little slinky, huh?
It's too slinky, a little too easy to pull out a tune a little bit, at least with my finger dexterity.
Gotcha.
And the Les Paul came with 10 to 52s on it, and it's now the E-flat guitar. It's
Okay.
doing pretty well there.
Cool. Let's see. Did we say hey to Lars Guitars? I think we did. We're going to say hey again. You tell me. I don't think we said hello to. What is up? Welcome in. Good to see you. I know we said hey to Mitch. I'm going to scroll through the bottom of the chat here, just make sure we've got everybody. We said hey to Zach. Mr. Franklin says 9s to 42 and 9.5, 9 to 46 Les Paul. I use 10s. Let me see. 9s. Oh, his 9s that he uses are 9 to 42 and 9.5, 9 to 40. Oh, so a hybrid set, 9 to 46. Les Pauls I use
9.5 to 46.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Bo, Guitar Man 45 channel member is here. Good to see you, Bo. Right on. Let's see. Andy Carson talking about the JS Satriani guitar. Neck pickup is a DiMarzio Satch Track single coil humbucker, and the bridge is a Mojo humbucker.
Get him, Steve.
Very cool.
Get him.
Very cool, right? Let's see. Steve says, you're halfway there, Ryan. 942, now E-flat tuning. I believe in you. Well, anything that I have E-flat tuning, I typically will put a hybrid 946 on it. So I did forget to mention that.
I share that same thought process with Steve, that standard tuning is E-flat.
Right. Andy continuing with his guitar specs. Volume pot is a push-pull high-pass filter. Tone is a push-pull coil tap. Very cool. Joe McGraw, heavy top and a low bottom. Large guitars. I used 942 for years now. Just tried 838. Recorded both and can't hear a difference between gauges. So I guess at that point, if you're not hearing a difference, then it would be just whatever feels better to you. So let's see. Quentin, 942 Super Slinkies, because I have ascendi fingers. Yeah, we all knew that. Dory McMahon is here. Good to see you, Dory. Saying hey to everybody, and happy Tuesday. Right back to you, Dory. Right on. Let's see. Channel member Charles Green has made an appearance, saying hey to everybody. Good to see you, Mr. Verde. What's your gauge of choice, Mr. Green? Let us know in the comments if you would. Let's see. What else is going on in the chat? Anybody have any comments? Love dogs. Large Guitar says the 8s felt better. Well, there you go. I can see where, you know, that would be an issue, like you mentioned, Randy, that you might tend to start overbending, but once you start getting used to it, it's just kind of a memory, muscle memory thing. Yep.
Yeah, it took me about a week or so to get used from that jump from 11s to 9s. So,
And see, this is a thought that I've had too. If you start putting 8s on stuff, 8s break easy, I would think. I mean, that's almost like the size of a hair, right? That high E 8.
Thin,
Yeah,
Ji-
pretty
well,
thin
Jimmy
stuff.
would know. Jimmy plays 8s.
Does he?
Haven't got that far yet.
We hadn't got that far yet.
Spoilers.
Let's see. Andy says, D'Addario, NYXL 946, and Stringjoy Broadways 946. How do you like the Stringjoy brand? I've seen them advertised, but I have never tried them. Let us know.
I'm not a fan. They're a higher tension than, say, your D'Addarios or your Ernie Balls or DRs or whatever. The Stringjoys. Their gauges are a little weird. So, like, their 9 to 46 isn't the same. Like, their B and Gs are usually up 1. And then the tension on, like, their 9 is, you know, up 2 pounds or whatever heavier than, say, a D'Addario 9.
Gotcha.
So, I wasn't a fan of the Stringjoys when I tried them.
The difference
So-
between a 30-06 and a 300 Win Mag.
There you go. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Mr. Brand, I really dislike the feel of 10s under my fingers. So if I go heavier, I go 11 to 52. My junior is 11 to 52. So I guess that thought process is if it's going to be uncomfortable, I might as well just keep going.
Go all the way. Yep.
Yeah.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah. If you get a set of 8s, get some extra single 8s. That's pretty good advice. You know, it used to be you buy strings, you get a pack, and manufacturers would have a spare E string in there for you. You'd get 2, either 9s or whatever, you know, because that was the one that broke the most. But I guess the manufacturers were like, that's too expensive. We're not doing that anymore. Yeah. Mean Joe says, I tend to bend a lot, so I tried 8s 30 years ago, broke them every time, so maybe relax or don't use them. Right on. I don't think I've ever tried playing with 8s. So
I think I have either.
Mr. Franklin says, I've used 8s, but my grip puts me out of tune. So that's the drawbacks that I keep hearing is you're overbending, you're going to pull them out of tune, and they're going to break. Kurt 5150. I prefer D'Addario NYXL 942 or John's favorite DR Veritas.
Those are my favorite.
John just chucks them straight in the bin. He doesn't like the packaging.
Yeah, the packaging. It's like, I got to throw this shit away.
Straight to the bin is what he says.
Which DR,
That 9 to 46 on these.
DR does give you the extra plain strings
Oh, do
in their
they?
packs. Yeah.
Oh, might have to look into them again. I remember in the 90s, I tried a set of DRs because the guitar player that was in the band with me, he tried them and he says, I really like them. He says they feel smooth or slinky, or they I guess they had some kind of coating or something on them.
Well, they
They felt slippery to him.
they're a round core. They're not a hex core.
Okay.
I think the drop tune ones are a hex core, but and the pure blues are a hex core. But like your Veritas, your regular tight fits, and then whatever the other one is, the dragon skins, which are the fully coated ones, they're a round core. So if you're playing on a guitar that's not a Floyd, you need to kink the string before you cut it, or they say they possibly could unwind.
Just start unwinding.
I've never had it happen, so.
Interesting.
I played DRs for years and then got where you couldn't find them. So
He's now boner jams.
I've never
Oh
seen
my
anybody
God.
stretch
John.
a string before they put it on.
Right? Yeah. He's not stretching. You don't stretch strings, you set strings.
No, I was jerking it just for you. Beesman.
Guitar Man 45 says I have a few 838s on my guitars, not all yet. Do like the 838s as I got older. Do not feel like having to go all manly on the string gauge. Most of my guitars have 842, which you do like as well. Cool, man. Cool. This is interesting to see everybody's take on the different stuff,
Where's the elixir guy at? There's always one.
right? Quentin says, back in my gigging days, I used 942 on everything. Took 30 seconds to get used to a different scale length.
I did put XSs on the Xterra, and they're noticeably still sounding new, even like 2 months later.
Channel member Boner Jams is here. Good to see ya.
Owner's here.
Sounds like a bitch strings.
Sounds like bitch in here.
The G string. All right, let's see. Welcome in, Boner. William De Silva saying hey to Charles Green. Right on, right on. Let's see. Mikey Mojo Humbucker. Is Mikey Mojo in here somewhere?
Mikey Mojo.
I guess that's Mikey Mojo's favorite humbucker. He's telling Andy. Let's see. Mean Joe says Ernie Ball has a lot of different combinations now, which we didn't have years ago. You used what was available. You know, back in the day when I was a struggling teenager for, a couple of dollars, I would use whatever I could find. Whatever was the cheapest that I could afford. Let's see. What else is going on in the chat? El Bourget says, I do like some coil taps. Depends.
Taps or splits? There's a difference.
Parallels or series?
Everyone in the chat knows what gauges Boner Jams uses. 11 to 80s.
Telephone wire.
Let's see. Boner says 11 to 56. I don't play no games.
He uses.
There we go.
You want to get specific? He uses the Dunlop Jim Root Signature 11 to 56 strings.
There you go.
Go figure.
There you go.
They're overpaying.
Kurt uses the 5x7. What else do we have in here? Yep, KX7 Rock also use 5 to 7. We got channel member Mike 40 Grit is here saying what up, dudes. 40
What's
Grit.
up, bro?
The link for 40 Grit's channel is down in our description, and I believe he is going live tomorrow night for the 40 Grit spot, right? Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Easternish, I think. So make sure you check out Mike's channel. Some good stuff over there. Let's see. Mr. Franklin is telling you, Randy, my 9.5, I use the 9 instead of the 9.5. I like the 046 for the crunch. Now, is there a difference in the middle gauges with the 9.5 to 46?
I think the other ones are like 11.5 and 15.5.
So they're half all the way up.
They're halves until you get to the wound strings usually.
Gotcha.
Depends on the brand.
Mr. Brand is correcting everyone in the chat. Lighter strings are more elastic and break less than heavier gauges.
He ain't lying.
That hadn't been my experience with the trans trim. That maybe that's the exception to the rule.
That whole step and a half up with the bar thing and locking it there. Maybe.
And, usually when I break a string is either after I've been using the trim a lot and I do a big bend on one of them, it'll pop. Or when I am just ever loving going back and forth on it, playing get up, the tension back and forth, just like taking a piece of wire and doing that, and it breaks.
How's it breaking at the
Yeah, it usually pops right at the ball. Right at the ball. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Do the old Kaler trick, man, and solder that sucker.
well, that is a trick for the trans trim strings for sure. Let's see. A little spat here between Boner Jams and Kurt 5150. We'll have to catch them on their show tomorrow to see how that fight ends. Let's see.
They'll be kissing in the closet at the end of the show.
Right. There we go. Mr. Verde. I just use Ernie Ball Super Slinkies 9 to 42 or 5x7. Right on. That was me too, Charles. Just coming up, that was all that I knew. 942. That was your normal strings. So I think I'm going to venture out and try some 8s. So everybody in the chat, let me know which guitar I should put the 8s on. Let's see.
clock.
J does like a low tension for some bending. Right on. Kurt has a question. Does anyone know how to block Guitar Talk Universe? Yeah, I can tell.
Just
I'll
one
call you.
half of it though.
I'll call you after the show. Let's see. Boner Jam's coming in with a little cha-ching for us. Right on, man. I'm apparently way behind in the chat because I see where all this is coming from now. Boner Jams with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. I'm asking if John DeShane could stop teasing us with the stroking motion. Grr, baby, grr. Thank you, Boner. We appreciate your continued channel support for us. Martian Murray, channel member, is here. Says 10s, but thinking about 9s. Slick is the word. Right on. Let's see. Everybody talking to John with his stroking there. Not Visible is here. Welcome in. Says I like, 45, 65, 80, 105 on my bass with a roto sound. I've never played a bass or even looked at bass string sizes, so that makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm sure some other bass players may agree with that. Let's see.
Pretty standard set.
Bradley Wood, I'm digging the nano webs on all my electrics lately.
There's the elixir guy.
There you go. Mr. Franklin's like, freaking John. Exactly my sentiments, right?
Oh, I was jacking.
Ted says John stringing his guitar with dental floss. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Blue Mox, Blue 942, Abirios or Slanky Skanks. I'm typically standard tuning, half down sometimes. 942s. Let's see. Back in Quentin's gigging days, he wore knee pads too. It was the 90s FFS.
And those weren't knee pads. Those are spandex
That's
shorts.
a spandex with the holes in them.
Those are bicycle shorts.
See, there he is. They were spandex, and it was the 90s.
You know, he actually put some thought into the knee pads because he was doing so much knee work while he was on stage. You know,
Yeah.
he figured he was smart.
Yep.
I don't never come to haunt him.
And you know that not many people know this, but Quentin told me one time when he called me, he said, don't tell anybody. I said, I swear I won't tell anybody, Quentin, but here I am. He told me that he used to have to bandage the bottom of his foot so that the friction from all the wah motion, didn't wear sores.
He's got that club foot.
Yeah.
Steve, I agree with you on your comment on the elixirs.
Let's see. Scrolling through. Zach Thong says, for me, I use on acoustic a 12 to 53 and electric a 10 to 46. On classical guitar, normal tension strings. What do I use for my acoustic guitar? That's a good point, Zach. I didn't even think about acoustics.
If it's a Taylor, it's probably got elixirs on it.
It could be. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Some people have trench foot. He has wall foot.
12 to 54.
12 to 53. I actually have a set right here ready to go.
I think all my acoustics have 13s on.
And the only reason that I purchased these is because this is what the Taylor came with, and I liked the way that it felt and the way that it sounded on the guitar. So I was like, why not continue on with what's working, right? Mm-hmm. If it works, don't change it. So
I hate those things. I hate them for electrics. I hate them for acoustics. Just hate them.
Never met a set I liked.
I've tried the poly webs, the nano webs, the spider webs, the whatever. And I didn't like any of them.
The Charlotte's Web.
well, that sounds like your problem. KXM Rock says, yeah, I remember buying one pack of strings 40 years ago, and it was a big deal. Now I get at least a 6-pack, sometimes 12-pack. A big spender. Making it rain. Let's see what else is happening.
Like when you go into the gas station to buy your cigarettes. You want 3-pack special? Yeah, go
Right.
get that 3-pack special with the free lighter.
Well, it's a difference between like $9 a pack and $7.50 a pack, right?
I don't know.
Fishman NYC says Fender guitars 9s, Gibsons 10s.
Plain enough.
There you go, if that works for you. Mark Spurgeon says, I will try some different sizes next time I change strings, but it will be a while. I only change strings every 10 years, needed or not.
Right.
See, I usually don't buy a lot of strings because if I need strings, I just go buy another guitar.
Yes, that's a very, very smart outlook.
Yep. Let's see. What else is going on? I have yet to pop a string on my Schecter. Well, I guess when you don't bend and you just use a wah-wah, you're not putting a lot of wear on strings. Seems so I can bend the 9s better, less tension than 10s and higher, Elbar J says. Let's see. Darboard, anyone try string joys? Yeah, Andy Carson was talking about them. And John, you said that you've tried string joy, right?
Yeah, I don't mind them.
Okay.
They're different, like Randy was saying.
Mm-hmm.
They have the offset B and G string.
Well, yeah, it depends on the set because they got like fusion sets, and I mean, there's round core, hex core, and then
I just got
match
the main.
tension sets, and
I just grab them. They're good. They're different.
Elbar J says, I hate the e-poke and the blood. Well, see, when you're changing strings, though, if you're diabetic and that happens, you just go grab your tester. You're good to go.
Signatures.
I haven't had a good
42.
hadn't had a good high E poke in a while.
String joy. Now,
Can't see that, can you?
is that something that you special order, or is there somewhere that you found that sells them there local, or
Direct order from them.
direct order?
I think
Okay.
they're-
And
are
with
they
the
in Nashville?
exchange and
I think
everything,
they're in
they came
Nashville,
out to the
aren't
same price I paid for the NYXLs.
Okay.
And they're on par. They're just as good, which is
Okay.
odd because I find that hard to find with other strings. But they
Well, I mean, that's kind of their thing, is they're like, we make strings and we make them well. Try ours and you'll
And you can make custom sets for yourself and just
Mm-hmm.
then they put it on order and then you can just keep buying.
took
your
me
custom
about
set.
about 3 days, and then I got used to the offset.
the difference, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Brand says some string manufacturers use different core to wrap ratio. It's a pain in the ass for floating trims.
Yep. And your Ernie ball versus the Dario tensions aren't quite the same versus your DR tension, and you'll see that real
KXM.
quick on a floater.
KXM Rock is asking, what's better, round wound or flat wound?
Well, when you're playing bass,
Or jazz, smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz.
the flat wounds are cool because you don't get the string noise when you move you're moving your left hand down the neck. And
So you don't get that.
Nope. And that's about all I got.
I got you. Elixir take a great string to Dario's and ruin them.
Here.
There you go. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them, and most all of them stink.
I agree, Steve.
Let's see. $20 is $20. It is. You gonna super chat $20, Quentin? I'll take it.
That's how Quentin gets his strings. $20 is $20.
Right.
Get 4 sets of super slinkies.
One load, 4 sets.
Oh, jeez. What else? Yeah, he's got the Steven Tyler foot. Man, I am way back in the chat.
Where's that cigarette lady?
About the elixirs. Q's feet are fine. Oh, I see. Just puked in my mouth a little. He says about the elixirs. Not Q's feet. Blue says years back, like 30 years ago, I used them cryogen frozens for no good reason. Never heard of those.
Dean
Skynet.
Merkley's.
I seem to remember something about that.
Bent Thomas
Blue
here.
Steel.
Good to see you, Tom.
That shit was?
Yeah,
Blue Steel.
The steel strings that would just destroy your frets.
Doesn't David Gilmour have a set of Blue Steel strings, or am I?
He's got
completely-
a signature Dean Markley set, but I don't.
All
think
right,
they're
I'm
Blue
curious
Steels.
now. I got to look here.
No,
Let's
he
see.
plays GHS.
GHS, that's what it is. Gilmore
Yeah, I think that's it. Right?
Custom String.
Motherfucker, I know that's it.
I was thinking, being a fanboy, I'd try some, and then I saw it was GHS. I'm like, no.
Let's
The
see.
Boomers.
GHS, David Gilmore Signature Series. He's got 10 to 48s. And he also has
10.5 to 50.
10.5 to 50 for his Les Paul, I guess.
God damn it, I'm blind.
There we go. Did you put the wrong string? Oh, you can't find the hole, is what you got.
He's got two
put some hair
strings
on it.
and one nut slot.
Let's all watch John try to find a hole and then poke his finger.
That's why I like him hairy.
Remember when that other dude did a string change show on Sundays?
Who was that?
Oh, we don't know. We don't mention any other names here. You know what I really like is when you're trying to get it through and you know, you got your hand on the other side and you're waiting to grab it and pull it.
He stabbed
And the
fuck.
string comes through and it goes underneath your fingernail and
Yeah,
stabs
that's
you there.
always a great time.
That's the best. Those are the best.
That happened to me last week. Right on
Right?
the side went.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. All right,
Got infected.
let's take this one last one here. Live, if my nines lasted 10 hours, I was happy. Well, that was probably from all the goose wet that you got corroding them away. So before we continue on in the chat, let's get to Jimmy. What is your go-to string gauge?
Well, I use hybrid sets for everything, every tuning and all that, because I'm in the camp of I like to go
Now-
as light
now
as
we
I
need-
can.
We need to let everybody know, though, that you make your own strings with a router and a tree
Yeah.
that you've cut down.
Yeah.
He's got a string
I
winder.
got
in
a
the
steel
room.
I-beam that I.
So hybrid sets for what whatever you're doing.
So E and E flat and 25 and a half and 25 and 3/4 is a 42, 32, 24, 14, 11, 8.
Okay. Wow.
And then if the guitar is doing drop D work or drop tuning, and the 42 is a little floppy, I'll just kick it up to a 46. And then like my drop C guitar is a 10 to 52 set with the 17, and I replace that with a 16.
So you've worked this all out to a science of every string. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I tend to always go like 1 or 2 gauges smaller on. I hate calling it the G. It's actually the 3rd string, because on a drop C guitar it's not G.
Right. Yeah.
So if you hear me saying, from the small string up is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3rd string being what everybody
The G
calls
string.
the G, which
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just OCD crap for Jim.
It's not anymore, are they?
But yeah, I tend to like the smaller strings.
Okay.
I've tried all the way down to 7s, and it's just that's too small.
Too thin.
But everybody's like, I break at 8s all the time. It's like you've heard some of the ridiculous bends I've done on a 24 fret guitar, and that's with an 8, and I have yet to break one.
So now, where are you getting all? Are you ordering from Stringjoy? Do you have like certain sets?
So all my wound strings are all the Dario XS. Because they last for a really long time. I have guitars that like my the Bear PV Wolfgang and my red Ibanez Radius. Those strings are like going on like 18 months old, and they still,
I was gonna say 18 years.
yeah, and they still sound good.
Yeah. So have you tried the Stringjoys? I didn't.
Yep.
You have?
Yeah, they're not as bright sounding as the D'Addarios.
Okay.
They're a little bit more mellow sounding, and that kind of goes across the board. I've tried almost all their versions that they offer,
Yeah.
and they're a little bit mellower sounding string.
Well, Randy hates a bright sounding string when it's new.
That's why I don't ever change them.
So I did today. I ordered, because Randy was all, stroking off to Dear Dragon DR Dragons.
Dragon skin, man.
Dragon skins. So I ordered 2 sets. We're gonna give those a test and see how they feel compared to the D'Addario XSs.
By the way, Randy, you don't have to keep muting your mic. Remember, we got rid of that hiss.
Oh yeah.
Muscle memory, I tell you. All right, let's get back over to the chat. Joe says GH strings are not bad. Use them for years. Right on. KXM Rock says I should try some string joys. Let us know. Right, getting another guitar sounds like an idea. Yeah, whenever you need new strings, just go buy a new guitar. Let's see, Steve. In my more regular gigging days, I would buy my strings 90 sets at a time, good for a couple of months. Now, I've seen where you can buy the whole tube of them, in the specific gauge that you want, and that keep you in stock for a while. Let's see, not visible. What's that?
As long as they don't corrode.
And don't corrode
by the
on
time
you.
you get to the last couple.
Not visible writes the date on my wrapper when I change my bass strings. I try to change often. Some bassists don't. Yep, I saw a short on YouTube, and they were interviewing bassists, and they said, "When's the last time you changed your bass strings?" And some of them were like, "Never." Most of them were like, "Never." Let's see. Why buy strings? Just get a new guitar. That's right. Peter Stroker, Kevin Brava, formerly known as Peter Stroker. 942 for Floyd and 11-56 for Paul's. That's an option. Let's see. If I were right, Steve would agree with me. I agree with you. William De Silva won a 12-pack of Paradigms on the JHS channel. I like those coated, I'm assuming coated strings, but most I don't like very much. I don't believe I've ever tried those. Let's see. What else is going on? Yeah, there he is, coated. Bent Tom for the win with the blue steel. And no more frets after you use those. Let's see. Fender bullets with the bullet shaped thingy. I actually had a pack of those. I forget why I had them or where I got them, but
put those in your cheap Squire, and then they get really jammed up in there.
Let's see. That's right. Rob is answering back with the Gilmore thing, GHS boomers, right?
Back in the 80s, that was the cheap string. I mean,
yeah. I can still remember seeing the front of the package with the finger bending the strings in the red background.
Yep.
Let's see. KXM Rock. What about 940s? I have tried those, like I mentioned earlier. The old 5150 strings were 9-40. Let's see. Steve Brand, blue steels for when you care even less about intonation than when you play elixirs. Be careful and don't put it in the belly button, says Ben Tom. He would know, I would guess. Let's see. Elbar J, Floyd Rose strings with the little flat thing on the end that fit in. Tried those? Oh, no.
The speed loaders?
The speed loader. Yeah. Now, I don't think they even make those anymore. Darboard says 40 grit use the EVH strings with the lowered E and G strings. I think they are worth a little bit of money, but you will need to ask him. That's the 5150 strings I'm talking about. Yep.
I've got a couple packs of those somewhere.
Those are worth like $5,000 a pack now, evidently.
Yeah, they're like $100-something a pack on Reverb because people are dumb.
Yep. Let's see. William says 10-52 on my, what is that? Cerberus. C sharp standard for my chugga chuggas. Right on. Let's see. El Barge melts his own steel wire. Talking about Jimmy earlier. Yep. Dory ordered some Ernie Ball strings last Monday. Still have not received them. 8 days. Unacceptable.
USPS?
Where did you order them from?
I was going to
Dory?
say, you need to be careful with Ernie Ball strings because there's some
Counterfeit.
non-reputable sites that are selling fakes of those. So
Yeah, if you buy them on Amazon, make sure you buy them from the Ernie Ball store on Amazon.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And I thought I was the only one that ever felt the underneath the fingernail torture of a string. No, every guitar player, I'm sure.
You've got to do it like a D string, though. That's even better.
Yeah. Jimmy coats his strings with the plastic from melted McDonald's trays.
Shut up, Quentin.
No, but here's something that I have done. Back when, are you all familiar with nano glass?
Yes.
Okay, so it's been in use by the military since the 70s. It's basically nano glass particles in basically a tincture, and a lot of automotive uses for it now. It's about 10, 12 years ago it kind of gained popularity, and so I bought some of this stuff. Was super expensive. It was like $250 for this little 4-ounce bottle of this nano glass, and I set up this wire downstairs, and then I just threaded a bunch of guitar strings, like about 5-6 packs, and then I just made this little wiper and would apply this nano glass to the strings, and would wipe the string, and then you let it cure, and then. And the stuff worked. It kind of deadened the string a little bit, but they didn't corrode at all.
Your own version of the elixir, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I played those strings for the whole time I was in Kansas City. That was 6 years.
Wow. Kurt wants to know if anyone uses the SIT strings, sit strings. I've used some shit strings before, but not sit strings.
I've tried the SIT strings. I don't know what all the fuss is about.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, Tom, some people just have that freaking acid in their sweat. It just eats up the strings. When he played gigs, I had to change them every show. Not uncommon.
Dory
Let's
said
see.
she got those strings from Sweetwater. Yeah,
Okay,
I've
so that
learned
should be good.
I've learned from Sweetwater that just pay. Don't use the free shipping. Pay for the expedited shit.
Earl wants to know if Jimmy wears pasties with his G-string.
I have specially made propellers.
Tom says you just got to raw dog it. He's tried all the coated strings before.
I agree.
Yeah,
Quentin hates the coated strings.
Tom said that when he tried elixirs, it felt like trying to fuck with a condom.
Channel member Gene Spliced is here. He says, put a paper label on the inside of all my back plates. Write the string, change date, brand, and gauge at every change on it. Wow. That's,
Funny, these guitars tell me when to change because they'll basically tune them up and it's just slight tweaks every 4 or 5 songs. And then one day it'll just be, nope, we're not doing it anymore.
Yep.
Okay.
Tom says Hendrix was 9-40, and I think that's what Edward started out with too. Was 940s, right?
Yeah.
The old Fenders.
Hendrix played like a 10-38 at one point too.
Andy almost made it for the hour. Got to run. See you, Andy. Be safe. Be
Just let it,
careful.
Andy.
Just let it burn down.
Just
bro.
let it burn. Let it burn.
Quit Narcanning that same fucking guy already. All right.
Not visible. Throwing a little cha-ching out there for us. Not visible with $5 super chat. Says bass player here. Love your tutelage. We love your tutelage as well. Thank you for the support.
We'd
Not
be
visible.
nothing without you
Exactly. We are nothing still.
as guitar players in general.
Right. Let's see what else is going on. Anyone ever tried Jimi Hendrix strings 10-38? I have not seen those.
Off of that.
I have not seen those. Let's see. Been there, done that with the under the fingernail. Right on. There's
own
Dory's
special
comment
minute
for
for me.
Sweetwater. Joe says the string under the finder rusted and a little tied on. Yeah, that's nice. Joe's at home. Let's see what else is going on. Tom says yes, Hendrix was the 10 to 38.
Bullet in, pure nickel.
Hey, we got Maddie. McCollum Music is here, channel member. Good to see you, sir. Finally got some service.
Maddie plays like 13 to 85s.
200.
Right. Let's see.
He's got half bass strings on his guitar.
Darboard says 9.5 and 10s for me, but considering 9s again. Nobody has recommended what guitar I should put 8s on yet, so I guess I'll make that choice myself.
Steve for the win.
Let's see, we got Rachel Howard is here. First time here, just wanted to say aloha from Big Island. Thanks for joining us.
Aloha.
New person in the chat, welcome in. We are glad to have you. And we hope to have you come back. So thanks for being here. Let's see. Mitch Heyman piped up. Says, Jimmy died before I could borrow some strings from him. Jimi Hendrix.
Jimmy's right there. I see him.
Right? Let's see.
I might have died to shit my pants, so I kind of died.
Dyed your pants anyway. 10 to 38 evens out the tension with a reversed headstock. Well, there you go.
Steve is correct. My Henrik Donhage Charvel has a reverse headstock, and the tension using 9 to 46s on there is definitely noticeable that the tension on the bass strings is higher. There's more tension on that for sure.
Because it has to be so much longer.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, does that really make a difference when you lock the nut down?
Absolutely, because the tension's the same whether the nut's locked or not.
Yeah, it does the same with my
Interesting.
BC Rich and my PV with the reverse headstock is the 6 string is definitely, you can feel it's got more tension on it.
That's why when that guitar was in drop C, I only ran a 10 to 48 on it instead of a 10 to 52.
Left-handed strings work best on righty guitars. There you go. Bo says I should put 8s on one of my Les Pauls. I may do that. What are my thoughts or your thoughts on round wound versus flat wound? I think Randy already mentioned that. One of them you get the
Well,
the other one you don't.
I don't play bass and I don't play jazz, so
I tried a
Flat.
thing of flat wounds once years ago, and it felt like fucking nails on
it's
a
weird.
chalkboard on their fingers. It was like, oof.
Not gonna happen, Steve.
They're not very bright sounding either. So if you're wanting to play some nice distorted guitar, do some riffing on the flat wounds, this is gonna sound like, in my opinion, it just kind of sounds like mush.
True story.
Bent Tom says if I put 8s on a Les Paul, I would break them immediately.
Does it lower the risk of breaking the headstock with only having the tensions of 8s?
Shorter should be less tension, hence the high strings should bend easier on a reverse.
They do.
Anyone else here left-handed but plays right-handed?
Me.
I'm just kidding. I can't play guitar left-handed to save my ass.
Super Symmetry is left-handed. and
Ordinary
plays
symmetry.
Right-handed.
You know, left-handed people don't live as long as right-handed people. Just keep that in mind.
Well, that's because the world is designed for right-handed people.
Dude, I broke my right thumb probably 10 years ago. And you want to talk about a struggle. Buttoning your pants left-handed is almost impossible. When you can't use your right thumb and you're trying to button your pants. I mean, it's just like, good God. But yeah, that month my thumb was in the splint. I mean, It's like, holy shit, everything really is designed for right-handed people.
Did you know that?
I
Whatever.
did not.
For whatever reason, this thought just popped into my head. But do you know that on women's button-up shirts, they put the buttons on the other side?
Yeah. And the jackets, the zipper's on the other side too.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? Yeah, the zipper's on the other side too. Yeah, so you got to do it like you're
when
left-handed.
You're standing in front of them, it's the right way when you're undoing that.
There you go. I don't know. I don't know why that popped in my head. It's
See,
one of them.
that's how you know those clothes were designed by a man.
There you go. Definitely affects the way you set up the guitar, says Tom, if you're left-handed playing right-handed.
I can see that.
Mean Joe says, just played my Yamaha Dreadnought with D'Addario X coated strings and still in tune almost, but haven't tuned it for 4 months. They're not for electrics though. That's what I found that's why I like those strings on my Taylor, because they stay in tune and they sound good. Mr. Blackmore Official says E flat hybrid 946, E flat Cobalt 1052. Oh, Ernie Ball hybrid 946, Ernie Ball Cobalt 1052, and EVH 946, Ernie Ball Paradigm 11 to 48 on the Slash Gibson Appetite for Destruction. So a couple of different choices there for you.
Some variety.
Right on. Let's see. Call him Music Matt. He says, I just move. Bent Tom solves that. He just never buys pants with buttons. There we go.
Track pants for
Don't
life.
wear pants.
Yeah.
Not Visible says, I played with a lefty for years. Loved it on stage when he jammed. I could face him and know where he's going. Yeah, exactly. Because it looks like you're looking in a mirror, right? Like, yeah, it's exactly what you're doing. Let's see. Tom plays drums right-handed too. You know who else plays right-handed drums, but they're left-handed, and they play left-handed? Is Ringo Starr. Let's see. Anyone ever try a wound G-string?
Yes.
Appreciate you asking that, because I meant to ask that earlier and I forgot about it. So, what's the big deal with a wound G-string? Why would you want that, Steve?
It's horrible.
Yeah?
It's horrible. Wall of Cries has a Dean V that's got telephone wires on it, and it's got a wound G.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, no.
No, it seems alien to have a wound G. I mean, unless your string gauge is so, your drop tune's so far down, you need the diameter that,
Case in
there you
point.
go, right
a
there.
plain string in that big would not work.
Well, that guitar is tuned to C standard, and I think it's got an 11 to 58 or 11 to 59 on it, and the G is like a 18 or 20 gauge wound.
I can't remember the smallest gauge they can make with a wound.
Well, a plain string, if you have to go that big, it might get to a point where if you try to bend, it just slices your finger right in half.
On my 11 to 56 sets, I would do the G was plain. It was either a 20 or a 22 plain.
Pretty big. Let's see. Rachel Howard says, as a woman, I knew this because men usually had help buttoning their shirts.
You start with the assumption that men are fucking stupid. Work your way back from there.
And then
It'll be good.
I already like Rachel for sure.
Yep.
Blue says, I steer clear of men that have buttons on the other side. Just not even going to say anything. Let's see.
That's a man, baby.
Bent Tom says that Mark Knopfler is left-handed, as well as
is
Gary Moore. Interesting.
Yep.
Also Dwayne Allman and Steve Morse. Cool. I did not know that. Matt says he uses the wound G.
Well, he's got those baritones and he's tuned all the way down and shit.
No.
L Bar J. I saw that. He drums backwards. Ringo.
Hey, John. This will make sense to you. You know who Nick Johnston is, right?
I do, yes.
He's left-handed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now it makes sense of why his left hand's so good on the fretboard.
Steve says use a wound G if you hate yourself. Quentin uses a wound G, I think. Let's see.
Or a wedgie.
Blue says, I'm convinced the raised pole on some Strat single coils and such pickups was due to using wound G-string. Could be. Could be. Matt says a wound G for stuff like drop B and A. Let's see. Rachel says, joke's on them. I'm left-handed.
No button
So
help
no
from
button
her.
help from me, right? Can use both though.
How does the can opening sitch work?
What?
Well, do they make left-handed can openers?
Yeah,
They do,
a
but
manual
it's
can
just as
opener
easy
is
to
definitely
adapt.
not right-handed.
Oh, I guess I'm that old where I still
Same with scissors.
can.
Well,
You
see,
just counter your directional force.
I've always said that they should never have made a left-handed guitar. It's not left-handed. It's like, oh, I'm left-handed, so I need a left-handed keyboard.
Yeah,
no.
left-handed piano.
Oh, I feel
A
bad.
left-handed
I think I'm gonna
piano.
be a woman today. Oops, sorry, didn't mean that the way that came out.
Yeah, you did.
Let's see. Darboard says, I actually sat at a 25th wedding anniversary. Dick Dale was there playing and telling his life story. He said his strings would turn blue at the bridge from heat and break. Well, that's from all that fast picking. That stuff that Matt does too. You know. Let's see what else is going on. Mitch says, I only play in E. I got tired of dropping my guitar all the time. Yeah, that sucks when you drop your guitar all the time. We get
I
it.
wish all
We
these
get it.
backing tracks we did were in E flat, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, you know. You could, I don't know, find some way to re-record them. Let's see. Zach says, I am left-handed. My uncle put the guitar in my hand left-handed.
Can confirm Zach plays
There we
left-handed
go.
guitars.
Yep. Rachel says, I'm a little ambidextrous, I guess. I actually cannot use left-handed scissors, even though I write with my left hand.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe all of this is why guitar mystifies me. I'm okay at piano and keys. Gotcha.
Same way. I have to use right-handed scissors in my left hand because I just learned to counter the directional force that you're putting on the scissors.
The only thing that I've ever been able to do left-handed was I could bat from either side. I can bat
I bat.
left-handed or right. Yeah,
Both teams.
I
baseball.
bat golf and do hockey with left-handed, but I'm right-handed for everything else.
Well,
Yeah, I usually use my left hand too.
Yeah, but that's just a switch up, though.
well, I'm
Do you sit on it first and let it fall asleep?
I'm right-handed, but I'm left eye dominant. So when I go shooting, I have to shoot rifle left-handed. It's kind of awkward.
You mentioned that when we were talking about optics and stuff. I'm kind of the same way. Like I can't, if I close this eye, I can't acquire a target. Shit.
Yep.
Interesting.
I can if I shoot a handgun, it's fine. But if I he was asking me about
Stream's gone instantly.
this ain't Hickok, it's all good.
Tom says, I can dig a clam with my left arm, my right hand fingers. Jeez. Get that off the screen. Elbar J, golf. I can do left-handed. How did we go from strings to left or right-handed stuff?
Because you asked if anybody was left-handed. I like Rachel's next answer.
Exactly. Some things, both hands are better. Oh, I know. Well, boys, we had a great topic tonight. I mean, the chat has been alive with some input. We really, really appreciate that. We've been going well over our hour. We're what are we? Hour and 16 minutes in, and we still got some more to do. Randy, you said that you were going to kind of demonstrate something that you had, a little sneak peek of something.
Yep, we got another puzzle piece showing up hopefully Thursday. But I added something that made a hellacious difference to
To the
old
rig.
here.
Let me grab this comment while you're setting up. Mean Joe says, my grandfather made me learn righty back. And in Europe, it was considered a handicapped.
Warm up.
Mitch says, I only use my... Oh, never mind. Tom says, yeah, I can switch hit butter churn.
You can get it done twice as fast.
Joe says, I grab the tatas with both hands. Yeah. Oh.
There you go.
And tune in a Tokyo.
It's been a long time since I heard that one.
Right? Zach has tried right-handed guitars, and I feel like a beginner. I tried to play a left-handed guitar because you're right-hand dominant. You would think, my fingers could do. No, your right hand is like, yeah, exactly. It doesn't know what it's doing. All right, so Randy's got a little taste of something here. Did you tell everybody what it was yet?
I have not.
Okay, let me grab this last comment because Jeff K just found his way in and is chatting. He says, switch hitting is a great commodity in baseball. I know people that can bowl, golf, etc., right and left-handed. Cool.
Gotta go bowling. It's been a while.
There we go. 2 Pickett's Pittsburgh. Yes. Quentin says, I can work a wall with my left foot.
You can do it with both feet at the same time.
Yep. Matt says, I use my left 11th finger. Jeez. All right, so let's get back to Randy here. Go for it.
So we've heard the drama with the Synergy Killer Cali module, and I ended up switching to the SLO2. And although I like the SLO2, Soldanos they're pretty bassy. They don't really, even with a tight switch engaged, the low end's still pretty loose. So I had the bass dial down way low to kind of try and compensate with that. And so I said, well, the best way to tighten up a loose amp with high gain is an overdrive.
I thought it was to use lower string gauge.
No.
Or lighter string gauge.
So I bought me a nice Boss SD1 Super Overdrive.
That cost you $80.
65.
There you go.
Those are still pretty inexpensive, yeah.
Yep. And so Jimmy and I got together last night, and we kind of I really didn't have to do much dialing on the SLO, but we really re-EQ'd the Deliverance, and I'm like super happy with it now.
Lights, camera, action!
So, no, Bo, I did not put an EQ in. I put a overdrive in front of it. So, what we have now on the SLO, I'll play a little bit with the SD1 off, and you can hear how kind of woofy and woolly that low end is.
Woofy.
Woof. Hear it?
Woof, woof, woof. Yep.
So it really tightened that up.
Well, cool.
But the Deliverance is where it's at with this SD1. The Deliverance is like sounds like
Rachel.
like a completely
Let's say
different
adios
beast.
to Rachel. Thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoyed your stay, and we'll see you again. Says I gotta go, but I'm subbed, and I hit that thumbs up like button.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. I'll share you with my hubby who plays guitar and other stuff. See you next time. Aloha. Right on.
Right on.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for dropping in.
Hey, Quentin, play something with tubes, brah.
And turn the wah off.
The
Quentin.
gain's on fucking noon, for Christ's sakes. Not on the Deliverance. It's pretty cranked on the Deliverance, but the Deliverance sounds awesome.
Wow. Zach says, wow, sounds great. So now we get the Deliverance.
Yep. So I can't really compare the Deliverance before because this has really been re-EQ'd, but the Deliverance is now beastly and it sounds really good on leads. Sounds good in my
Yeah, man. Sounds great. We'll have to listen to it in the mix
In a mix.
and
Right.
see how we sound.
Well, what
Let's
sucks
see.
is
Pedal, is that what it is?
do what?
What?
Isn't that what Joe was asking?
Joe. Oh,
No.
H.
It's not the heavy metal 2 Waza.
Bradley Wood says it was boomy until the SD1, but that's what the SD1 does. It tightens the low end.
Yep.
I still always had to lean towards that over a TS.
Squeal, boy. Squeal.
Right. Squeal like a pig. Get them panties off.
You remember who the actor was? Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty.
LRJ, my angle has more bass than I had been using.
Most stamps do.
Ingle.
Never heard anybody put their bass on 10. Whoa,
Sean Plays Guitar is here saying, hey, my dudes. Good to see you, Sean. Welcome back. Mr. Franklin would like to hear it left-handed, Randy.
Whip her around, buddy. Give her a rip.
Yep. All right, boys. We are about an hour and a half in, and we have well used our allotted time for this evening. So we're going to wrap things up. Anybody have any final last words about string gauges? You have been convinced to try another gauge, maybe?
My advice would be
Trev's about to
whatever-
fall asleep or sneeze.
Whatever you would try, give it at least a week before you dismiss it.
The man who didn't even unwrap strings and say straight to the bin.
What the fuck is this? Trash.
No. Once you actually get them on the guitar.
Right? If they make it on there.
I'm
Yeah.
open to recommendations for the C standard guitar, which is the Gibson scale. Should I just go right to it's like a 13 or something? 12?
Oh, 10
10
to
to 52 is just a little too spongy, so I need to give it at least a bump up.
So 12, or you're going to C standard?
That's correct. Black Sabbath.
Probably I would try the 11 to 54 or if you're going to go Ernie Ball, the not even slinky, which is 12 to 56, which is how I made my 11 to 56 gauge. It was the treble strings out of the beefies and the bass strings out of the not evens.
Cool.
So there
Thanks,
it
Randy.
56, Steve says.
Yeah.
I think I did that for a bit when I was playing with a band that was down that low. It works pretty good.
Sean is always joining us at the end. Yep. Got to get here on time, man. Or just watch the replay. It's all good. Thanks for showing up and saying hey, though. Jeff K has a quick question. Can you pot down on the guitar, I guess volume down, and get cleanish with the ST1 engaged?
No,
No?
because I use the hi, I'm SD1 settings where he does have the gain
Level all the way up. Yeah.
No,
Or
he doesn't do the typical level up, gain off, tone middle, or tone at like 1-2 o'clock. He does the level at almost all the way on, so it would be like at 8, and then the gain probably at 2, and then the I just kind of the tone knob I just kind of turned it to where it just started to bloom, which was 12 o'clock, and left it there. So with it engaged, no.
It
Because
still pushes too hard.
yeah, it's pushing a little bit of gain in. So I've got the gain on the amp modules rolled back because I was running the SLO at about 2 o'clock and now it's at noon. So
Gotcha. Hey, look at here right at the end too. Dahlia is here saying, "Hi, boyfriend."
I know.
I do.
Good to see you, Dahlia.
Yes.
So
Quentin would like to know if he can go live now.
Anytime.
do whatever
Certainly.
you want, bud.
You could have gone live an hour and a half ago. Nobody would have been there, but
Zing.
you know that we love you,
Chicken
Quentin.
skin thighs.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go. We'll see everybody tomorrow night, Wednesday, with the Under the Bus Boys. There should be a link in the description for them. We'll see all y'all over there. And then after that, we will be back on Thursday for Trans Trim Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Persuasion time. And we will see everybody then. And until then, we will say adios, see ya, goodbye, have a good night. Thanks for joining. If you're here for the replay, thanks for watching. And see everybody next time. Bye.
Eddie Van Halen here, telling you, keep playing, man. Gotta keep playing. It's the only thing there is. Music, man. Keep playing. All right? I'm gonna come looking for you.